3 up, 2 across, tap that play button 3 times, and walk through the archway into Dialogue Alley. Hello and welcome to Dialogue Alley, the official Potter Collector podcast about Harry Potter books, book translations, and all other things magical. I'm Erik.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Melanie.
And the 3 of us are Harry Potter book translation collectors. We collect Harry Potter books from all over the world, which means we have Harry Potter books from countries such as the Faroe Islands.
Ooh, Greenland.
Russia.
Cambodia.
Germany.
France.
Philippines.
Luxembourg.
Ooh.
And not only that, we have so many versions from each of those countries, which is wild.
I know, that's crazy too. Like, there's some of those countries have more than one version of those Harry Potter
U.S. books, got them all. UK books, got them all.
Got them all.
Gotta catch them all.
Yep.
Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Do bet something. No, I don't know. God, I used to know all the poker raps, Melanie, and now I don't. And I feel like
I only
need to go back.
I only know the last one, and I came to the conclusion that it's because I most consistently would watch Pokemon after school on Fridays. Like, that was when I was, like, most likely to catch an episode, which is why I know the last part of the Poke Rap. Like, and Nora gets so impressed when I can do the end of it. When it starts with Charmeleon, it's, like, the last, like, 10 Pokemon.
Charmeleon, Wartortle,
Mewtwo,
yeah.
Mewtwo, Tentacruel, Aerodactyl, Almanite, Slowbro. Pidgeot, Arbok.
Yeah.
That's all, folks. That's it.
Yeah, that one has like the fewest amount of Pokemon.
I know,
in the Pokemon.
But it's also like I had the most practice with it because it was on Fridays. I would watch Pokemon after school every day, but then that was the one I caught the most. Like, so it stuck out in my brain the most.
I didn't know.
Understandable.
It was
started for me. It started at 3:30, and I like school got out at like 3:22. And I ran home with my neighbors, and we, like, got there just as the theme song was starting. And we were like, we made it.
Yeah, Carly, it was a show. Like, Indigo League was no joke. And, like, it was like joke. One continuous, like, story. So, like, you had to watch it, and then if you, like, missed an episode, you'd be like, oh, my gosh, when did Ash catch Squirtle? And, like, this is crazy. Oh, my gosh. Why doesn't he have Butterfree anymore? Like, well, here you go.
Bye-bye, Butterfree. That's a whole episode.
Bye-bye, Butterfree is something, but it just sets you up for the Pikachu episode when Pikachu meets all the wild Pikachus, and then Ash, like, runs off because he's going to leave Pikachu behind, and then it does all the flashbacks of all their beautiful memories. I have a video of my daughter hysterically crying because she watched that episode and she thought that Ash was going to leave Pikachu, and she just, like, couldn't handle it because Pikachu is her favorite. And, like, it's just so sad. It's so, so sad. But I was like, listen, they're endgame.
It is.
Ash and Pikachu are endgame. They're not going anywhere. Oh my gosh, we're not here to talk about Pokemon, though, right? We're here to talk about Harry Potter.
No, we're not.
It's crazy.
No, we're talking about Harry Potter books. And
that's not in the notes.
Not only are we talking about Harry Potter books because we collect them all from all over the world, but we are at the final episode of season 4.
That's crazy.
So, hooray. We are going to do a quick recap of all the amazing things that happened during season 4 of our podcast. So, that includes Melanie growing 5 inches this year. Carly learned how to fly.
Wait.
And Erik could turn invisible. Oh, no, wait. Sorry. That was totally wrong.
I feel like that's kind of funny because you're like, Melanie grew 5 inches. And I'm like, oh, kind of, because my belly is, like, gigantic because I'm, like, almost 9 months pregnant right now. So that happened. Carly travels and stuff. I don't know. So she flies, actually.
I could be a secret flyer as
Sure.
well.
And if you just, if you just duck down in the camera, you'd be invisible right now. And there we go. There we go.
There we go. We have fulfilled.
It was a
all three
Trelawney.
magical
That was a Trelawney
things.
level prophecy. Like that was. We just spinned it and made it work for us.
We would call that a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Absolutely.
But anywho's, we are so glad that you are here with us, whether it's your first time or your 50th time or your 100th time or whatever time it is. We are here to recap our entire last season before we take a little bit of a break because, like Melanie just mentioned, she is pregnant and she's going to have a baby, and that's amazing. And Carly and I have other stuff to do, so we're going to take a little bit of a break as well. But this is a perfect time to wrap up season 4 and to quickly recap all the amazing things that happened in the last year in the Harry Potter universe. So we're going to have kind of a special episode today just talking about exactly that, what happened in the past year in the Harry Potter universe. So we're going to skip right over the news, even though we have some news, and we're going to talk about everything that happened in the last year regarding Harry Potter and Harry Potter book translations.
I think that also I want to mention, like, this is also a recap of, like, Dialogue Alley, right? Like, what happened with us in the last year and some of, like, our highlight cool, coolly-neato little things that have happened, like, in the Dialogue Alley universe. So, like, if you haven't listened to our podcast before, this is, like, bringing you up to speed a little bit. So we're going to talk about some of the new books that came out this past year. We'll talk about like highlights of that, but we'll also talk about just highlights in general for our podcast. I mean, the first and foremost, we talked pretty extensively about Mina Lima's Prisoner of Azkaban came out this year, which is amazing. I mean, not so amazing, and we'll just touch upon it like very lightly, but Carly and I had like recorded a whole beautiful, passionate, like lovely episode that like technology failed us on and we couldn't release, but we talked pretty extensively about how Mina Lima's not going to be continuing on with their illustrated editions. So just getting to appreciate books 1, 2, and 3 that we did get from them is super, super cool. The fact that we're not getting the rest super, super stinks.
Yeah. Essentially.
Well, and Carly and I recorded another episode about that same topic. But if you are a Patreon supporter and get our bonus episodes, you can hear that corrupted episode on our Patreon,
Oh, it was so
which
bad.
is still you can get the gist of it, but it's not amazing.
My audio, Audacity was being so audacious.
The audacity.
Seriously.
Another big thing that we talked about this, we took a lot of focus on this year, I would say. And we extensively discussed book value on this podcast this year because we have seen way too many instances of people saying, I just found this book in my grandma's attic and it's a hardcover first edition US Half-Blood print. Like, is it worth $500? Because I saw one sell that one time. And the answer to that is no.
No.
The answer to that is no.
Or if you saw a reel on Facebook or TikTok with some guy in a shop saying it's really rare because there's a misprint,
No.
that's probably not the case.
No. I literally wrote in my notes, on the notes for this, TLDR, which in Reddit word lingo is too long, didn't read. But the only first edition US book that has value is a first edition, first printing. There's a difference between printing and edition. But a first edition, first printing of Sorcerer's Stone, or if your book is signed. If your book is not signed and it is not a first edition, first printing of Sorcerer's Stone, no, your book is not valuable. The end. I said good day.
Yeah.
Good day, sir. I also was in Amsterdam last summer and saw lots of English Half-Blood Prince books with the page 9911 OWL's error.
But it's so rare.
For sale in
So
used
rare.
bookstores for 10 to 12 euros. First printing, first edition.
That
because
is a deal.
millions of that book were printed. And this was in a country that the national language is not English, and they were still selling for 10 to 12 euros. So,
and still
not a valuable book.
And
so,
still many of them, which is also something. Like, you saw more than one in a country where that wasn't their primary language. So I think that also stands to account for how many of them there are and the distribution of them.
So, again, TLDR, misprints are cool, but not valuable.
They don't add value.
Nope.
They just serve to identify already rare books. I have to throw that in there.
There you go. One cool thing that we did this year, we took like a few episodes to do this, and it was a lot of fun, was we did like a cover art showdown where we put a bunch of random cover arts and a bunch of random like little chain thingies. What are those called? Bracket. We did it in brackets.
Brackets.
Brackets. It was completely random, but the way that the bracket broke down was that we came to the conclusion that Swedish Philosopher's Stone is the best cover art that there is. Is it? Is it? I disagree, but
yeah,
like,
totally.
Out of Sorcerer's Stones,
I don't. It's the best.
I have other ones I like more, but I mean, I think it's amazing.
Same.
But I think the conclusion that we did draw from doing that whole thing was like, even if you have a friend that just likes Harry Potter and you want to get like a cool gift for them and they don't collect Harry Potter books, they think what you do is weird, like, because you do collect Harry Potter books. I don't know. I'm just like making that up. But like getting them a Swedish edition of Philosopher's Stone is a top-notch gift idea because it's beautiful and it's so
Yeah, it
cool.
is. It's very
cover.
unique. Yeah. Wonderful art.
Yeah. Fun thing that happened during season 4, and this goes back to amazing books that came out this year, is that we got our first ever all seven books in one volume that came out. It's one book that has all 7 Harry Potter books in it in the one volume, and it came out in German, and it's another reason why I think that Carlson is just thebomb.com.
I'm just so glad Carlson was the one to produce that, like the first one, because they just set the bar so high.
Yeah, we rave about Carlson all the time with so many of their book quality is just top notch. I feel like it stands out to us. Anytime we do a TOTS and it's a Carlson book, we're like, this book is going to have outstanding quality. It's going to be so cool. The only thing that Carlson suffers with is like the quality of their boxes themselves or their box sets. Other than that, their books are perfect.
Yep. I'd agree 100%.
Yeah, and this book's
and
perfect.
I think all 3 of us, and Peter included, would wonder what country or which language will be the next to produce a book that contains all 7 books in one volume.
I mean, now we know it can be done. Like, it's like
Absolutely
Harry Potter and Prisoner of Azkaban when he's like, I knew that I've done it already. I knew I could do the Patronus this time because I've already done it. Like, he knew that he was going to be able to produce it because he did it already. Like, okay, it's been done. We have it. It exists. now let's just have it in so many more languages.
I wouldn't be surprised if Finland or Danish were to do that, because
I
they're still very much cranking out books.
I don't want the same cover art. I want
I don't think so.
I want it in English.
They can both do really nice, unique cover art. So maybe they'll do something like that. I mean, Finland does like to use other covers, but, their first editions are unique covers. So maybe they'll just go back to that or find a different Finnish illustrator and kind of do what Carlson did. I don't know. I bet Finland makes wonderful books as well. So I would love to see them attempt it too.
They do. But, it would not work well in languages like Japanese or Greenlandic, where the book would be about 2 times as wide as my face.
It would take up a whole shelf. Like, literally, the book would be that boop. Like, it would just...
that's true.
Or, anything that's multiple volumed.
I feel like Spanish could do it. Like, Spanish would be really cool. We've seen... and that's another thing that's happened this year. We saw some really cool new Spanish cover art. We saw some really cool new French cover art. Like,
French art.
I would love to see this book in Spanish or French.
And the French cover art's available on the new Greek editions that I've already pre-ordered because I got way too excited.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't get those French ones. I
they
feel
have
like
sprayed edges. Like, I probably will sell my French ones with this cover, even though they started in French, and I don't usually do that, and I love the French books. But the Greek books to have
I'll get them from you.
Edges.
I'll get this. I'll take your French ones. Do you have all of them?
I have all 7. Let me get the Greek in, and let me make sure that's what I want to do, because I really do love the covers, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to go that route. No, I would get those from you. I would not take them, but I'll buy them from you. For those of you who don't listen to our podcast all the time or wondering about Melanie and her collecting journey, I wait for books to find me through osmosis because life is just so crazy for me right now that book hunting was so cool doing it 10 years ago, but doing it now, I just am not in the same place in life. So I just wait for the books to come to me. So of course, and they do.
If you're getting rid of those French books,
we'll talk.
We'll talk. Here's something major that happened this year. There is a infamous chapter title in Harry Potter called The Parting of the Ways. And that was something that happened for us this year. We took it, not between us, but we took a step back from our relationship with MuggleNet, which is something that we've been doing for a while, but started up a brand new partnership and collaboration and everything with Peter, the Potter Collector, and we are the official Potter Collector podcast. And that was the coolest thing probably that happened to us this year and happened to Dialogue Alley, and we've gotten so much more Peter content. It's been fun for us because we've gotten to chat with Peter so much more. He's been on the podcast so much, which has been awesome. And it's just been so fun for all of us to kind of reconnect to our collecting roots by having him so on board. So that was a major happening for this podcast.
Yeah, it was really
absolutely
fun.
And without saying though, definitely we thank MuggleNet for giving us a great partnership in the interim, and they really opened some doors for us. We had a great episode where we interviewed Stan from the Goblet of Fire Harry Potter movie, which was fantastic, and that was a great interview that we had in place thanks to our partnership with MuggleNet. So if you haven't listened to that episode with Stanislav Yanevsky, who was the Victor Crumb actor in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, go back and listen to that episode because it was great. But we are very, very, very excited to partner with Peter at the Potter Collector to be his official podcast and to continue producing great content about what we like and what he likes, which is book translations in the Harry Potter fandom, which like, I don't know, you guys can't see this right now except for the live listeners from our Patreon, but all three of us are sitting in front of our massive book collections of Harry Potter translations, which is what we all have in common, which is why we got together to form this podcast in the first place, which is outstanding. And I can't express how happy I am that we are, kind of back to that.
We're going to be moving into
base
season
of
5.
Harry Potter translations.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm so
to think.
proud
I was
of
thinking
us.
about that today. I was like, I cannot believe we're going into season 5. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Another thing that's completely unbelievable, dare I say epic, which you guys talked extensively about in the last episode, was that Epic Universe is coming out. Like, it next year. Season 5 of this podcast, 2025, Epic Universe. Yeah, you guys talked about it extensively. It's so cool. I think that when I listened to the episode and hearing you guys like discuss it, I think the thing that stuck out to me the most is that like we're getting the Ministry of Magic to scale. Like that is
so excited.
Sick. Yeah,
I remember.
I can't believe it.
I remember when we were at your bachelorette party at Orlando and we were talking about this new add-on that was going to be coming, and now it's almost finally here, and I can't believe it feels like it's been that far ago, but also like yesterday.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. I'm so excited to go. It's going to be a while before I end up going. I feel like because I have kids now, like I got to be a Disney mom for a while, and I feel like that's because even with this new park coming, there's like not that much for kids to do. However, like if we plan an Orlando trip and Alana and I could sneak away for a day and we could go to Epic Universe, just the two of us, like I'm down. I would love to go.
No, so I have, like 4 weeks ago, I was just in Anaheim, California at Disneyland with my 2 kids, 4.5 and 7, and they could do pretty much everything they wanted to do. And we talked about this with Carly and Peter. At Universal, it's still very much a more
big kid.
I don't want to say mature, because big kid, that's a better big kid park. And like Disney, you can do a ton. Universal, you really do have to be a certain height to really enjoy everything that the parks, like in the whole resort, have to offer. So, while I'm personally really looking forward to all the new Epic Universe stuff, I don't think it's ready for my like personal family until my kids are a little bit older. Yeah. So that doesn't mean I'm not going to try to get down there, or my wife and I aren't going to try to get down there, but it's not ready for my 4.5-year-old to experience all the fun new Harry Potter stuff that's going to be in the new Epic Universe park. So that's too bad. But, whatever. There are still things. There's a time and a place for our kids to enjoy theme parks, but at this point, it's not at Universal, unfortunately.
Yeah. Can I tell you the funniest thing? I brought Nora for a doctor's appointment like 2 weeks ago, and they took her height and took her weight and all that stuff, and they took her height, and she hit 40 inches. And I looked at her, I was like, Nora, we can go on Soarin' now. Like, that was the first thing out of my mouth, and she was like...
And Star Wars, all the Star Wars rides, she can do it.
She's not like into...
And Big Thunder Mountain, you can do it.
She's not like into... She calls Star Wars Snar Horse. She's not into Star Horse yet.
Yeah, my kid's called Darth Vader, Dark Vader, and it was actually Kylo Ren.
Oh,
so
no, that's embarrassing.
It's like double wrong. But whatever,
she'll get
adorable.
Into Snar Horse eventually, but
Snar Horse.
I was like, Nora, you can go with mommy on Soarin'. She's like, no way. And I was like, yeah. And then afterward, we can go on Living with the Land over and over and over and over and over again. Okay.
Living with the Land
is my favorite ride.
Yes.
I am that
love
person.
Living with the
I think
Land.
I'm gonna wear my Living with the Land t-shirt tomorrow because I'm obsessed.
The hydroponic tomatoes are underrated.
It's just the smell. Like, the smell is just so relaxing. And, like, there is nothing that slaps better than getting front row on Living with the Land, getting to put your feet up after a long day, chilling in the AC with that calming smell and the sound of the water and the hydroponics. And it's the best. It's the best. The best. All right, something else that we have to talk about that happened this year. I'm happy to talk about it. I'm not happy to talk about it. You guys know how I feel about this. But the last Hallmark ornament came out this year. For those of you who don't know, Hallmark came out every single year with a book, one book at a time, a Harry Potter one, like Sorcerer's Stone came out, and it has like this 3-dimensional component. So it looks like the Mary Grand Prix cover art, but then it has this really cool 3-dimensional component to it, right? So you had to wait every year to get one.
They're awesome. They're outstanding ornaments.
So cool. So cool. In past episodes, I complained and whined about how I had all of them except book 1, and I was so upset because it was selling for like $300 online. Like, I couldn't imagine spending that much money on it. I was so upset. And then I was so excited and relieved when Peter was selling one in one of his sales or something like that. I don't know. And I ended up buying book 1. I was so excited. I finally had them all. This year, book 7 came out. So I'm like, I have all of them. This is the coolest thing ever. And they're re-releasing them. So now anyone can have them all. And you could just get them all at once. La la la. You don't have to wait a year.
But honestly, okay, so time out. First, Melanie and I did a whole episode about limited time release things that, like, I find infuriating. But we did not know at that time that they would re-release these Hallmark ornaments. So I'm torn because I have them all. We got them since the get-go, but at the same time, you don't want people that have spent hundreds of dollars on ornaments that they thought were previously unattainable, because Hallmark has really never done this before, as far as I know, releasing things that were, supposed to be like a year-by-year release schedule. So, I don't know. Like, I'm torn, because part of me is disappointed because people that have spent lots of money on the secondhand market to get these ornaments that were not available after their release window. But now everyone can get them. So, like, I'm happy because everyone that wants these 1 through 7 book cover ornaments can get them now for the regular retail price. So it's kind of I don't know how to explain it.
You know what it is? As a book collector, it's the exact same feeling as a publisher coming out with one book every year as an anniversary book, and you spend 7 years getting one book every year until you have all 7 books, and then on year 8 they come out with a box set. And I love boxes,
right,
and I love having a box set.
Exactly.
But you don't know
exactly
that they're going to come out with a box set. You just think, like, I mean, it could be like this Mina Lima situation, right? Where, like, Mina Lima only came out with books 1, 2, and 3. There's not going to be a box set of 1 through 7 of these books because there's only 3 of the Mina Lima books. So you're not going to get a Mina Lima box set. So that's why, as each Mina Lima book came out, I got one, because we just don't know if a box set would exist. And now we do know that there's not going to be one. So it's good that I got them when I did. But sometimes a set might come out and sometimes a set might not come out. And in this circumstance with these ornaments, who knew that they were going to get re-released? Like, I feel like we all kind of thought, like, oh, well, once it's out, and then the next year you can't get the previous year. Not that I know of.
No, I haven't seen them do that. I also don't follow the ornament game hardly at all, so I'm not
neither
the one
do I.
to know, but
I'm Jewish. Like, we don't do Christmas, but I do have,
right.
Like, these are Mina Lima cover art ornaments that they're so cool. I don't have them on a tree. right now my setup for podcasting is here's my laptop. I'm at my desk in my library, and on my desk I have them hanging right above where my laptop is, so I get to see them every single time I record, and they're so cool. But they're not on a tree. I just got them because I like them. So
right.
I know. I feel like I have a lot of feelings on it, and I have not a lot of feelings on it, and that's how I feel about it.
Well, I think re-releasing after people have paid a lot of money for like the first ornament, I think, and yeah, like Eric was saying, there's a way to differentiate, but it creates the sense
on the box.
Of like, it's on the
Not
box,
on the
not
ornament.
on the ornament. But by doing that, they think, oh, well, this is the only time we're going to have to buy that. So if you want the first ornament, you're going to have to pay an inflated price. And it creates this sense of scarcity, which inflates the price because supply was low, I guess, per the demand in the marketplace. And so then people were paying, several $100s for something that was re-released with a box that's slightly different, but the ornament's the same, for something that they could just buy new at a store. I don't know. That's the whole problem with collecting, because you run into that in books too. I mean, we all have. It's just...
I still think, though, better now than later, right? Like, this is the year that book 7 has an ornament coming out. So better re-release the other ones now, because Melanie and I talked about, like, if they had, like, not retired these after each year, people would still buy them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People would say, oh, hey, I want book 4, but I don't have books 1 through 3, so let's go back and buy them. Oh, I can't. I need to spend $200 on eBay buying each of them. Well, wouldn't Hallmark rather have the money versus having them buy from a reseller?
Well, yeah.
But
I feel like this was done like, oh, there's still a demand for it. Let's go back since we finished it. We'll just re-release all of them. Because chances are, I know how us collectors are, we will email publishers if we can't find the book. I think everybody I know has emailed a lot of publishers for books we can't find, just to see if there's any chance of them being re-released or if we can still buy them from them. And I'm sure that Hallmark was getting similar things. If I know how collectors work, that's what we do.
Yeah, and in the multitude of Facebook groups that all three of us are a part of, like when they re-released books 1 through 3, there were a lot of people saying, hey, that's great. I don't have these and I don't want to spend $300 on eBay to get these ornaments each. So I'm super happy that I can go get them, which to me, that's what it should be all along. If people want to buy these, they should be able to buy them at retail value from the company that puts them out, not from someone that puts them on eBay for $300 or more, to make a huge, profit off of that. So I'm torn because always I wish that the people that come out with the original product can make the money off of that product, which is what's happening now. But because, the last 7 years, Hallmark has said they're going away, this is your only chance to buy them. That's kind of scuzzy because once they got to, book 7, people are already thinking, well, we've had 7 years of them saying we're not having any sort of reproductions made. So if you missed out, you missed out. But now they're going right back to, well, if you missed out, here they are at $20.
There you
go. Not $300. So like that's the hard thing. Like they waited all the way until the end of book 7 to say, oh, well, let's re-release them all, books 1 through 7. You can buy them at retail price, which they should have been doing all along.
Right.
If they were going to do a limited run, they should have stuck to that and not re-release
Just
them.
like
so
when Tibetan...
That's kind of where I'm at with it.
When Tibetan released book 3, they also released 1 and 2. And I believe...
Yeah.
I actually think you had to buy the set to get the third. I could be wrong, but I don't remember how they were doing that. But I know that they re-released the other books, so you had a chance to buy them at that time. I think it was a smaller print run, but they still did it because they realized they're putting out a book 3, and in order to spur demand for people buying book 3, you also had to have it 1 and 2 accessible. So they did that.
Yep. Exactly.
Just thoughts.
All right. Couple more things that are really cool. Super quick. Last year we were able to end our season. Not only was it our 100th episode of this podcast, which was crazy cool, but we had the translator of the Yiddish Harry Potter book on our show. It was one of my favorite episodes that we ever recorded. His name is Arun. He is just a fabulous, wonderful human being. We should invite him. I was going to say we should invite him to dinner. Eric.
We should.
Maybe. Yeah, well, let's
do it.
All right, stay tuned.
Do it.
Stay tuned on that. But Yiddish Chamber of Secrets was just released, but happened during our season 4, which is like so crazy cool. I actually didn't even get my copy yet, and I feel like I have to. I know, it's on my list, guys. If one of you would have just ordered a second
get it
one,
signed, Melanie.
Shut the front door.
I have 2.
Do you? Are you keeping both?
I ordered one, and then it didn't show up, and then my wife ordered one, so I'm assuming another one is coming to me because they do ship from Sweden.
Oh.
See, you've got books coming your way everywhere.
Let me know how much it was, and I'll just send you money.
If you didn't order one, I'll get one from Sweden. I have it's coming to my house.
It's a beautiful book.
In November.
Oh,
yeah, that sounds amazing.
Word.
And typically, like, I wouldn't get it's another like Johnny Duddle cover art. Like, I wouldn't get these books. They just don't fit in what I collect. But Yiddish has like a crazy special place in my heart, so I feel like I need to have it.
And we know the translator we had on the show.
And we know the translator.
Like, he's delightful. I want to support the language and the publisher. I want to support everything about it.
Yeah.
Yes, and exactly that. Like, the print run of these is not enormous, so it's not like German, right? They're going to make millions of these books. They're not going to make millions of this book in Yiddish. So it's good to have in terms of language preservation.
Yeah,
and
so
linguistically,
cool.
I'm just so excited.
Last thing we got to talk about, which is like a very like personal thing. Carly, are you cool with me doing like the whole truth about this thing?
Yeah, it's a really fun story.
Yeah, it's honestly like a really cool story, and we don't really have that many people in our live listening right now. We have a couple, but I feel like when this episode airs and we like share this little like tidbit, minds are gonna be blown. But one of the coolest things about our podcast and something that's come out of it is like the collector community. And like we talk about it all the time. Like the Harry Potter translation collector community used to be like this small, tight-knit like little thing where there were not that many people that did what we did. And it's grown into something stupidly coolly spectacular. Yeah. And Carly and I have been on this journey a really long time together. And one of the things that has happened on our collecting journey was over the course of our process of getting books, and particularly like very rare translations, meaning like big 6 books, we made like a joint buddy decision to split the cost of books and share books until we were able to like find our own like rainbow ending and get these books for ourselves too, and like whatever. So throughout this process, we've shared a few books. We shared Malayalam for a little while until we were able to get another copy of that. And up until a couple of weeks ago, she and I shared Gujarati. What's super cool about this whole thing too is like you have these books that cost so much money, and we split the cost of them each time we did this. And it just worked out in our favor so well that it was something that we did several times. So we did this also with Gujarati. I think we bought our first Gujarati book for like $800, right?
Yes.
Okay,
because
so
we found that on the heels of Nepali. Like, the two came really close together, and we couldn't afford to buy both, but we could buy both together. So I think that's what we did.
Because also keep in mind, like, these books, we say see it, buy it all the time. Like, these books don't come up all the time. If you see them, you have to nab them now. So a Gujarati book had come up a few years ago. It was $800 at the same time that a Nepali book came out. So we split the cost of both. Nepali lived at my house. Gujarati lived at Carly's house. We had tidbits where we would send them back and forth. It was like co-parenting a little bit.
It was really fun.
I feel like it like bonded us because we did this whole process, but also like alleviated such a load for us that like knowing that the next time one of these books crops up that is, which doesn't happen often, but one of the times one of these books gets thrown in our face, and if it comes up for a price that we can't say no to, we're going to make it work because we're going to split the cost. And that happened with us with Gujarati. I think it's been like 4 years since we bought like the first Gujarati. It was when I first moved into the house.
It was
5, maybe 6. So like maybe 6 years ago.
19, yeah.
So like maybe 6 years ago we bought our first Gujarati. And so it's been 6 years, and Gujarati came up on eBay about 2 weeks ago. I'm like out at a farm with my family, and I was like, Carly, our Gujarati's on eBay. This is our book. Like we have to get this book. She and I are going like back and forth. My heart was like going a million miles a minute. We had like 2 other people bidding in this thing with us.
I had to pull over. I was driving.
I made it home with like 10 minutes to spare with the thing. It was like one of the most exciting book getting things that we've had. It was so fun to watch that auction.
I've not been I haven't watched an auction end that excitedly in years. It was such a fun phone call, such a fun sharing moment.
It was also so cool because, I mean, not for nothing, if you're a collector, you're doing this whole thing, like there are certain things that you have to watch out for, especially on eBay and especially in a live auction. And one of the things that we saw was there was somebody else that was bidding on this book, and they were then retracting their bids to try to figure out what our max bid was so they could outbid us at the last second. And we just got very, very lucky that Carly and I agreed on a price. We were like, we're sticking to this price. We're not going over it. We got it for the price that we wanted to pay for it.
Yeah.
And we were able to then split that cost because that's what we did. Like, we split the cost of it because that's what we did for the last one. So it just made it such an accessible way to get this book. And now I have my Gujarati book here, and Carly has a Gujarati book, and it's just it's one of the coolest things. Like, my heart was racing the entire time. This is now like one of my favorite books that I have on my shelf, just because it's just, this is a 6-year process book, but just waiting it out, like, it happened, you know, and I couldn't imagine it going any other way.
And even on the other things, like the other books, like even Asturian, Greenlandic, we all kind of were a part of each other's getting those. Like, it was really fun. We got to share those moments. So it's been really fun. This has been really fun.
Yeah, so being really a part of the Harry Potter translation collector community has just been so stinking cool. I love what we've built in the last 4 seasons. Yeah. I love what our Discord has turned into. I love that this community has gotten so much bigger, and we're all kind of finding each other. So I think that like rounds out our season 4 like so nice.
It's been such a season. Like, I feel like everything just got bigger in season 4.
Yeah, me in particular. I definitely got a lot bigger this season. I feel so like
physically. physically bigger.
I'm so physically being like 9 months pregnant is like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I like stood up before because I was like, wait guys, real quick, I just have to go get something from my kitchen. I came back and I was like panting because I couldn't breathe. Because I have like a child in my rib cage right now. It's wild. It's a wild experience. So crazy.
That means this is the end of season 4, but Carly and I and Peter will continue in a couple of weeks, season 5. Whether Melanie is here or not, that's up to Melanie and her unborn child.
Stay tuned. We'll see. We'll see where I'm at in life. We'll see how breathing goes, you know. We'll see if
breathing's important.
Yeah, we'll see if this little man decides to make his appearance, and we'll just go from there. Do we want to super quick? What was your favorite tots from this season?
Oh, so I chose something different
for sure.
Because we did Asturian, and we all know my affinity for Asturian. I love that cover, but it's just like a favorite book, hands down.
I know.
So I picked something different.
I'm surprised you didn't pick that.
I wanted to pick something different because I feel like Jacopo Bruno, who's the 20th anniversary German illustrator, his work is also among my favorites, and I want to give that some airtime. So I picked book 4 from the 20th anniversary German set, illustrated by Jacopo Bruno, because his work is lovely. And, you know, Asturian is hands down just a favorite book, regardless. But that one deserves an honorable mention, so I'm going to pick that.
It definitely does. And that entire set, if you can get a box set of all of those 7 books, outstanding. Like, highly recommend picking that up.
Amazon Germany,
if you want
great spot to go shopping for those.
My tots of the year, and both Melanie and Carly kind of chuckled when I said this, was the Georgian book that we just talked about last episode, because it was so polarizing. Like, there were so many not great things about it, yet there were so many great things about it that, you know, the Carly, Peter, and I were kind of, you know, really trying to convince one another that it was good or bad or good, because this book had so many good things yet bad things about it. So because of that factor, I really would nominate my tots of the year to the Georgian book 1 with the Mary Grand Prix cover art.
For being
it
so
was just
divisive.
so fun to talk about. It was so fun to talk about because it was just so, like, I don't know, everyone had a different opinion about everything, which was so
interesting.
Fun. I love that.
We were just very different on our opinions.
I know. I have to go pick mine up and like see how I fell with you guys. I don't have a hardcover though. I think I just have a paperback actually. But I know, crazy. What? I know. But I imagine I'd feel similarly to you guys with a lot of the stuff that you said. I can't help but make my favorite tots of the season be the German 7-book 1-volume book. Like, it's just one of a kind.
Yes.
So unbelievable. Quality is so unbelievable. Cover, so unbelievable. How it feels in your hands, unbelievable. Like, everything about this book, it smells great. I love this book, and I love that this book exists, and I love what it could mean for Harry Potter stuff in the future. Like, I would love to see more books like this in the future. So, without a doubt, my favorite tots that we did this year. And also, it's like such a special book because I don't get books that often anymore. Again, osmosis. But like, I got this book for Hanukkah this year. So like, that was just super, super cool. And this was a book like I needed to go out of my way to get for myself because it's just unbelievably cool. So, such a good book. So if you want to see any of these covers that we just talked about, some of our like favorite tots that we just talked about, you could do that in a lot of different ways. So one of those ways is you could go onto our Instagram accounts. Carly is at All the Pretty Books. Erik is at Nocturne Erik. I'm there at the Harry Potter Collection. Peter is the Potter Collector. But these specific books that we talked about as our favorite tots of the year books will be on the Dialogue Alley podcast Instagram, which is at Dialoguealleypodcast. You can also see pictures of these books on our various websites. alltheprettybooks.net is Carly's website. thepottercollector.com is Peter's website, and dialoguealley.com is the website for this podcast. We are also on Twitter. We are on Facebook. I am on TikTok. Peter is on YouTube. He's constantly posting videos. Like one of his like latest things was like a spotlight on all these weird cover arts, which has been like super, super cool. I love that series that he's doing. So that's a really cool way to get exposed to these different cover arts as well. You can find Dialogue Alley if you want to listen to us and not see us. You can just listen to us. You could do that on Apple, on Google, any of your podcast hosting locations. That I use the little purple app. That's the one. But, you know, you can listen to us wherever you want, wherever you feel. Alexa, play Dialogue Alley Podcast. There you go. And again, one of our favorite things that happened in season 4 of our podcast is that we became the official Potter Collector podcast. So you can support us by supporting Peter. There are other ways that you could support us as well. You could do it a little bit more by supporting us on Patreon, which is patreon.com/dialoguealley. That gets you access to our Discord and this amazing community of Harry Potter book translation collectors, which we talked extensively about in this episode as well. You can talk to everybody in our Discord, which is so fun. It's so cool. You can listen live to our episodes. You could get bonus episodes. Lots of really cool content on there. So that's where you can find us. But for now, this is the end of season 4, but we will be back for season 5. And thank you guys so much for listening to us, for supporting us, especially our Discord members. Special shout out to Brock and Charles who are listening to us live from this episode. Super, super cool. We love having people join in and comment as we're chit chatting and whatever. It's a lot of fun. So definitely like adds to our whole thing. But yeah, thank you guys again. It's been an amazing 4 seasons. We can't wait to be back for season 5. But for now, it is time to walk back.
With a baby.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, my God. Do you see how I'm, like, out of breath? Because there's a baby in my lungs.
With a baby.
But for now, it is time to walk back through the archway and into our daily lives. And we will catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.